Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Wednesday, August 27th, just after 4 o'clock. Markets are closed, and this is our daily recap video for our Roundhill weekly paying dividend funds. The first three are 0 DTEs on the indexes. Wasn't fully prepared. We've got QDTE for the NASDAQ 100, XDTE for the S&P 500, RDTE for the Russell 2000, and then the last one is not a 0 DTE strategy, but it kind of fits in here because it's still selling calls, trying to generate income. This one's for Bitcoin, and they trade off of IBIT and still pay weekly, so that's why we include them in there. Reminder, I'm on X at ETF_Inspector1. Usually, I post you these every morning as soon as they come out. If you read the note there, I checked right around the time they come out, and they weren't ready yet. I got sidetracked, went to a meeting, and then completely forgot about it. I actually sat down at 4 o'clock to take a look and see how everything went, opened up my spreadsheet and saw blanks there and realized the mistake. So I'm sorry about that. If you ever are looking for that information and I haven't posted it yet, when you go on Roundhill's website, you select each separate fund, you scroll down, and then you click intraday trades, and they will show you those 0 DTE trades for the day. All right, I also repost things like distribution announcements, so we'll go into them as well today, since today is declaration day for our 0 DTEs. So we'll go ahead and get started. Oh, I should have mentioned, right, markets are up today, right? Everything was in the green that we're talking about here today. We start with the NASDAQ 100 up 0.17%. QDTE beat it just barely, 0.2%. S&P 500 or SPX up 0.3%. XDTE for some reason was trailing on this one. Not really sure why. Russell 2000 up 0.66%. RDTE outperforming with 0.88%. And then the IBIT is the underlying for YBTC up 0.87%. YBTC up 0.85, pretty much even with it. All right, so we'll look at our trades. We start off with QDTE. They sold 379 calls at a strike of 23,590, expiring today, collecting $8.49 per share premium, or $321,000. As you can see, they are not swinging for the fence the way they did last week. They kind of hit 4 home runs and then went and grounded into a triple play on the last day. But this week they are being more conservative, and even with that, they still almost lost a trade yesterday. But we'll take a look at where things are closing out. 23,590 is well above the 23,565 closing price. So, or we could say it in reverse, the closing price was well below the strike. It doesn't cost anything to close that out, and it's a full profit of $321,000. All right, when we look at the holdings, there's $895 million in assets under management, a little over 25.5 million outstanding shares. Before the day started, the NAV, or the value of everything within the fund, was $35.09 per share. That went up a little bit today. Share price closing around $35.15. The Excel automatic pull of the information does take some time to finish regulating. At the end of the day, we're showing the same price on both, though, so that's not bad. Today is declaration day. Before we jump into that, no changes in the holdings down here other than the values, slight changes from yesterday's market movement. So today was declaration day. We came up with a guesstimate of 23.9 cents per share. They announced today 20.4493 cents. That's a low one recently. That was a surprise to us for the downside, about 16, almost 17%. It still comes out to be a 30+% annual yield, so we're still not complaining. Next, we have XDTE. They sold 659 calls at $6,485 on the SPX, expiring today, collecting $1.73 premium per share, or $114,000. SPX closed at $6,485.53. This is still settling because when I clicked the record button, it was 64.84. But either way, I will update it, and then I'll just double check before I close things out tonight. As you can see, that just took another jump. So now we're saying 64.8636. So we'll put that $1.36 in there for now. And again, I will check at the end of the night and see if I need to adjust it. That results in having to pay back about 89,000 of the 114 collected, and the day is still a profit of $24,000. XDTE's got $422 million assets under management, 9.6 million outstanding shares. The NAV was just under 44 when the day started. Market went up slightly, so the closing price on the fund was 44.09. Again, today's declaration day, no changes as far as holdings, these deep in the money calls that they purchase in order to sell calls off of. The guesstimate on this was 25.3 cents. That's been the average over the last month or so. That was a surprise to the downside of 19.28%, with the distribution coming in at 21.2107 cents per share. That's still a 25% annualized yield. So again, nothing to cry about. All right, last of the zero DTEs, we have the Russell 2000 fund, RDTE. They sold 657 calls, expiring today with a strike price of $2,375, collecting $2.80 per premium per share, or $183,000. Russell 2000 closing at 23.75. Here's another one that was actually below the number before I started, but that's okay. So right now it's 37 cents high. As we can see, SPX has already dropped back down to 95, so we'll go adjust that. But we'll put in the 37 cents that it costs to settle that, which comes out to 24,000, and they get to keep the 159,000 as as a profit. Let's just turn this into a 0.95 for now over here on XDTE before we get back. All right, RDT's got $152 million in assets under management, 4.3 million outstanding shares. NAV at the start of the day was 33.67. A decent increase today, bringing it up to just under $34. No changes in holdings. We didn't add to or take away from any of the deep in the money calls that are purchased. Today's declaration day, and the guesstimate, I did guess low, so the average has been around 28 cents. I dropped it though based on how the poor performance for the week that led to this guesstimate. And I said 26. That still just wasn't enough of a decrease. They were declared 22.3943 cents per share. So that was a surprise to the downside as far as our guesstimate of 16%. But it's still a 34% annual yield. So I think this is the first time we've seen, oh, never mind. I thought they were 35. So they're still paying higher. They just kind of, everybody slid down. We went from like 30, 35, and 40 to 25, 20, and 35% annual yield. And then finally, YBTC. Today is X day. So as long as you had the shares today and you purchased them prior to today, then you are eligible for tomorrow's distribution. That was already announced on Monday, right? Tuesday. I'm getting my days mixed up. Tuesday was declaration day of 49.7541. So this one at least was a positive surprise. We guessed 45, almost 46 cents. They paid 49, almost 50 cents. So that was an upside surprise of 7.8%. What's this number based off of? So the last 48 cents was a 55%er. This is even higher because it's 49, so it's over 55, 56, maybe even more percent. So we like it. we'll run that actual number up to the previous distribution tomorrow to fill things in. Next declaration date is Tuesday, the 2nd of September. There's $285 million in assets under management, 6.1 million outstanding shares. This is odd, so we're probably expecting some sort of change in shares because the fund should never be trading below the NAV. This is basically how much money everything's worth. So generally, it's going to even out. You're not going to be able to buy $46.33 for $45.84. So let's go take a look and see if they updated their outstanding shares. And if they haven't, we have a feeling that the update is coming within the next couple of days. So it still says 6,160,000. So that's not the thing. So we'll get an update in the next couple of days. I guarantee you're not getting a discount. All right, the synthetic is a IBIT for 10/17. That's the date, October 17th, $66.70. That's currently underwater because IBIT's at 63.65. So it would currently cost, well, before the day started, $13.7 million to close this out. Obviously, it went up close to 1%, so the calls will increase in value, the puts will decrease in expense, so that number will get closer to zero, but it'll still be well into the negatives for millions. The call expiring this week is a 67.30. That's what they're using to generate the income to pay out. It's still 5.7% out of the money even after today's upward movement. It started the day only costing 4 cents to close out. Not sure if it really went up much, even though IBIT went up just because another day ticked by and there's only 2 trading days left now, and it is well out of the money. So we will find out tomorrow. That's all I have for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.